I'm Pawan Thakur. In my line of work, we spend a lot of time looking at buildings. We inspect the foundation, we check the load-bearing walls, and we look for cracks in the structure. But lately I've been thinking about a different kind of maintenance. We all deal with the daily grind, the endless emails, the bills, the coworker who always replies all. It drains us. I wanted to see if there was a structural cure for this exhaustion. So I started looking into the ancient texts of Hindu philosophy to see if they could offer a blueprint for our modern minds. Because peace of mind isn't a piece of real estate you can just buy. You have to construct it yourself, brick by brick, thought by thought. The materials for this internal construction project are called samskaras. In Indian philosophy, these are the psychological imprints left behind by every single action you take, and the specific intent behind that action. This concept goes back thousands of years.
It operates as a highly formalized system of behavioral psychology, detailed in Hindu texts, outlining exactly how these impressions accumulate to shape our personality. Think of it structurally. When you act out of frustration or purely selfish motives, you lay down a weak, cracked brick in your mind. Over time, a foundation built entirely on those negative impulses will start to settle and eventually fracture completely. To build an unbreakable foundation, we have to change exactly how we approach our most mundane, everyday habits. Our subconscious is really just the sum total of those actions. Every choice, from taking out the trash to responding to a difficult client, functions as a structural decision that determines our mental stability. To keep the soul's home from falling into disrepair, Hindu tradition ascribes routine maintenance. These are the Panchama Yagnas, 5 daily duties required to keep our inner structure intact. The first is Deva Yagna, or worship. Scripture mandates this daily practice not to appease a deity, but to set a clear, focused intention that invites a sense of the divine into the rest of the day. Then there is Brahma Yagya. By studying sacred texts, we continuously refresh our intellect and preserve the wisdom of those who built before us. Third is Pitru Yagya. Contemplating our ancestors and the holy men and women of the past provides structural reinforcement to our family values and cultural heritage. Fourth is Bhuta Yagya, the duty to provide food for those in need. This practice actively constructs a spirit of sharing, keeping the ego in check by prioritizing the wider community. And finally, Nara Yagya, serving all guests with respect and reverence, regardless of their status. This forms the bedrock of traditional hospitality. These 5 duties operate as highly specific psychological tools. They are daily inspections designed to prevent the mind's foundation from cracking under the weight of isolation and selfishness. Once the inner home is secure, we have to step outside and go to work. This is where the practice of karma yoga, the path of selfless action, takes over. The core rule of karma yoga is straightforward but incredibly difficult. You must perform your professional and social duties entirely without attachment to the outcome, the reward, or the recognition. This flowchart breaks down the internal mechanism. When you combine an action with ego and a desire for reward, you generate stress and karmic debt. But when you subtract the ego, that exact same action results in spiritual growth. By removing the desperate need for personal gain, we stop manufacturing those weak, ego-driven samskaras that weigh down our psyche. Under this philosophy, the concept of secular work disappears. Every spreadsheet you balance, every floor you sweep, and every business deal you close becomes an act of worship, as long as it is performed selflessly. When you view life through the lens of karma yoga, the toxic modern workplace transforms. It stops being a trap and becomes a highly personalized classroom for your own spiritual progress. A rude boss or a complaining client is no longer an annoyance ruining your day. They become a specific karmic test of your patience and your ability to maintain equilibrium. This aligns with modern psychological studies on intrinsic motivation. Research from scientists like Deci and Ryan shows that focusing on the work itself, rather than external rewards, enhances job satisfaction and creates the same mental clarity described in the Gita. Each daily obstacle provides the specific raw material needed to harden your character and build a more resilient self. The ultimate goal of this maintenance is a state called Jivan Mukti. It is an existence of total inner resolution, completely free from the heavy burden of negative subconscious traces. Achieving this liberation doesn't require you to abandon society and move to a monastery. You reach it simply by perfecting your attitude toward the mundane tasks you are already doing. As an architect, I can tell you that the principles of strong design apply everywhere. You are the builder of your own spiritual real estate through every single action you take. Ultimately, the value of a life rests in the strength of the character built within, a structure far more enduring than any physical property.